Hey everybody, what up though? Welcome to Kicking It with K Marie podcast. Look, I have to remind myself this is the Kicking It with K Marie podcast because some of you know I do have my other podcast with my sister friend Cam over there on All Things Cam and K, Clink with Cam and K. But I'm over here because you know what time it is. It is election season, okay? And you guys know that I'm very passionate when it comes to the election and our freedom. Okay. And whatever I can do, I'm going to do it. I don't know if you guys recall the last election cycle with Biden and Trump. You know, I did my part. I got with my local mayor of my city. We shot a commercial, just stressing the importance of just voting and voting early and those steps and the different deadlines. So we did that the last voting cycle, presidential voting cycle. And then we also collected donations from people, from my viewers, where I went to different polling places that in Detroit that I know that the lines will be long. No, I did not pass out the items there. You know, I have water and some like chips, just different snacks. So just encouraging people to stay in line. It was like in the lobby of those places where they can just grab it. Again, whatever I can do, I'm going to do it to make sure that the right people for our country get in office. And this cycle is no different. I have two very great guests, women who are powerhouses in their states and around, the different parts of the country. And I am looking forward to hearing from them. I'm looking forward to them educating us about this early voting, the importance of that. We're going to touch on some immigration. We're going to touch on some myths that's been put out about Kamala Harris. And we're going to be talking about some key points in Project 2025. Okay. So go ahead and if you're in the chat, click that like, get those likes that just notify other people that are seeking the same thing. We just come up in the algorithm. So go ahead, hit that like while this intro play, and then we'll be right back.
Lay back, unwind, groove to the rhythm, it'll soothe your mind. Live, laugh, right, throw some shade along the way. Oh, please behave, somebody say, let's go. It's time to turn on your radio. Rhymes will flow, just so you know. You're kicking it, okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Let's go.
Hey, it's me again. All right, so I am going to introduce our guests. I have a video because y'all know y'all seen me in the past. Y'all know I don't like doing that in real time. I'll be stumbling, but I'm going to taking it back when the first time that we started with this podcast. We used to do these video intro bios. So with all I'm not going to keep you guys. So here we go. We are going to introduce our guest. A life of public service has been my greatest honor, is a direct quote from our first guest, Signa Oliver. Signa is a native from Phoenix, a former PPD officer, U.S. Army Judge Advocate, General Officer, and currently elected to serve on the PXU Governing Board. She's earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the University of Phoenix and a Juris Doctor from Texas Southern University, Thurgood Marshall School of Law. She served on the board of Vets Forward, and she's an activist with Common Defense and chair for Indivisible South Mountain. She's a member of the State of Arizona Veterans Caucus and the AZ Attorney General's Veterans Commission, an advocate for voting rights, protection of a woman's right to reproductive health care, veterans' rights, public education, and individual civil liberty granted by the U.S. Constitution. She's a mother of 2, plus 2 bonus children, their spouses, a grandmother of 8, 7 grandsons, and 1 granddaughter, plus 2 fur babies. Our next guest, Joanna Jojo Sweatt, is a fierce veteran advocate and civil rights activist who served 10 years in the USMC from 1997 to 2007 in E6, including a deployment to Iraq in 2003. As the National Organizing Director of Common Defense, she has been instrumental in growing the organization's capacity across the nation. She recruits and trains veterans joining the progressive movement and ensures the health of the organization by leading organizing staff and veteran members to take actions that push further on the progressive political agenda. She has established sustainable staff and operations in 5 key battleground states. Jojo is also a freelance writer with works published in Vanity Fair, Healthy Women, and other notable state-based news periodicals, and has made appearances on CNN, MSNBC, Vice, and Arizona PBS. She is one of the 5 original co-founders of AZ Vets, established in 2019, a wife of 27 years, mother of 3 voting-age children, and resides in Phoenix, where she enjoys hiking and exploring Arizona's natural beauty. We have some heavy hitters on this show today. Please welcome our guest. Thank you all. Please welcome our guest, Signa Oliver. Hey, Signa.
Hey.
And Miss Joanna Jojo Sweatt. Hi, Jojo. Okay. Y'all look, okay, before we get into, everything, I just want to start off with something kind of fun. I mean, what we going to talk about? I mean, it's fun but serious, okay? But so I want to know from you ladies, so you can tell us in the chat, if you're in the chat or if you're watching this on the replay, let us know. What's your favorite political television show? I can go first while you guys think, if you want. All right. So I'll go ahead. So I was torn between 2. And both of these had like 1 season. I was just but I was always in front of that TV every week. So I had to go with Scandal. That was mine. Okay. I love me some Scandal. It was just the writing of it all. I love Shonda Rhimes, me being a filmmaker, writer, all of that. I really appreciate her gift of telling a story. And I love Scandal. But my other one that I used to love too, before oh boy got in trouble, that last season, was House of Cards. So
Jojo, you got something?
I know. I was like, I don't have time to watch TV a lot lately.
Well, I'll say this. She took one of mine because Scandal was my favorite. She knows this because we used to chat about it all the time. But a fun fact about Scandal, Kerry Washington, well, she was just here this weekend, but she was here a couple of years ago during the campaign when I was running, and she was stumping for Mark Kelly. And she walks up to me at a church in South Phoenix, and I introduced myself. I said, my name is Signa Oliver. I'm the Olivia Pope of South Mountain. And she goes, I love that. She's like, I love that. I was like, no, really, I am the Olivia Pope of South Carolina.
Oh, nice. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I will say I watched a few seasons of Scandal back in the day, and I did love that show and Kerry Washington. I would say, I don't know if this is considered, but I will say a show that I watched a lot as a kid that I think had a lot of impact on me, just because I have an Air Force dad and a Korean mom, was the show MASH. And so that gave me a lot of perspective, I think, about how people take care of people, or how you engage with folks when you're in other countries even. And so those are, but I did love Scandal when it was on, but maybe not for the political stuff.
It was, oh Lord. And I saw that they Kerry Washington, it was a nice little reunion. Kerry Washington and Tony Goldwyn, they were at the DNC convention. Signa, you were there. Jojo, were you there as well?
I was. And last night, actually, we had an event here with Doug Emhoff, and one of his pre-speakers was Guillermo from Scandal. And so he made some references about, his TV role to now. So it was great.
Nice. Just if you guys, and I forgot all about it. You guys went to the DNC. How was that? Was it your first time, second time?
First time, and it was a dream. It still seems surreal, like it was a complete out-of-body experience the whole time I was there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
went as a delegate. I was elected as a delegate to represent Arizona for my my congressional district. And, Jojo just said the word surreal. I think even 2 months later, I'm still processing, because I realize you're sitting in the middle of history.
I could just imagine just the electricity in the room, the excitement, and oh my gosh, because it looked like it was a good time on television.
Yeah, it was. We were partying. We partied, but it was a lot. It was a lot. Uncle Joe coming on. If he'd have lost it, I was gonna lose it, because I was like, hold on, Joe, don't you crack, don't you crack. And then hearing Secretary Clinton, walk through, but then Barack and Michelle didn't realize until they hit this how much I missed them. And I'm, Mom and Dad, you left us with a bad babysitter.
Hello?
Not a nice man.
Hello. I mean, Michelle brought, oh my God, her speech. I was like, dare I say it, I liked it better than President
Oh, yeah. Obama didn't even need to close it out, because she had already done it.
She did. Oh, that was awesome. And then Signa, I saw your pics. I know you guys had a great time. All right. So like I mentioned in the opener, one of the things I really want to talk about is early voting. And I got into early voting the last presidential election, because Michigan became a state where we didn't have to have a reason to to vote absentee, like the days of old. You had to meet the requirements to do it. And it's just, for me, it's just a better way, because I don't have to stand in line, and it's especially, I'm like, okay, if the other side is trying to fight it so much, it must mean something, It must be really, really important, because, of course, in our country, that's your fur baby. Of course, in our country, we know that they try to, oh my God, gerrymandering, and trying to make it very, very difficult for people to vote, because they know that if they do that, then they're not going to take the next step to trying to find, but it's just so much easier just to vote early. And I was speaking to one of my friends because I put this on my personal Facebook page about voting early. And she had a sentiment that a lot of people have when it comes to that. And it's like, I'm scared that, it might get lost or my vote will not be received. Yeah, can you speak on that?
You want to go first, or I'll take it. Living in Arizona, we had an amazing Pebble system, permanent early voting list, mail-in service, drop-off centers, all of that for years before Trump came onto the scene. And there was no question about the integrity of our voting system. Arizona, in fact, had calculations very quickly. Something that I've even learned in the last, 8 years of really working in this space was that as a military veteran or having served in the military, I was always on that mail-in voting list. And when I moved back to Arizona after service and I would get my ballot in the mail, that was important to me because then I could fill out my ballot at home in the privacy of my own home as well, and with tools that I may need to make decisions, because in Arizona, our ballots have always included ballot measures, measures that people put up to, exact change in progressive policy in our state. So our ballots have been, really intentional for years. And it's been an experience. And then I was holding on to my mail-in ballot because I wanted to still have the experience of showing up on voting day, but just not having to go into the booth. I could just drop off my thing, get my sticker. This was before they put the sticker in the mail for you. And then I learned that was holding up my vote even longer because I wasn't submitting it when I got it in the mail. And so once I learned that and how they procure ballots, when and how they decide to count them, it made me more aware of the process. And so my ballot should be in the mail today or tomorrow. And I fully intend to fill that out with its 14 ballot measures that I have to say yes or no to, along with all the folks that we have to vote for. And I will make sure I mail that back or drop it off. And I can tell you with assurance, my husband is a mailman. A union.
Yeah, my mom is too.
Yeah. And they take political mail seriously. Like before this, he used to get off as a mailman maybe 2-3 o'clock every day and be home. But my man's not coming home until after dinner because they have to make sure they get everything out, that it's scanned, that the right people have what they need to vote, that the political mailers are going out. And so I am really perplexed on how 4 years ago, Arizona became the cyber ninja state. Where all of a sudden people wanted to question things all because the results weren't in their favor. Right. And we can have a long talk about gerrymandering. Right. Get into that. But that's really what happened. And just to name it, I mean, if you just look at our state on a map, we are a square. Yeah. We're as flat as can be. You can't get lost in Arizona. So drawing the lines that they have drawn and the representation that they've excluded in some of the territories that are rather large, that end up being more conservative because of that. That's a big problem. And so these are things that we're really concerned about.
Okay. Yeah, and just to add to Jojo's for Arizona, now we have what's called the active early voting list because our legislator is trying to chip away and remove that option for us, which is ridiculous. And so we tell people. So I'm a chair of the Get Out the Vote in my area, and so what we're telling people is, all these texts and phone calls you're getting. If you drop your ballot off early, that'll stop. Because the candidates get that information and they'll stop calling you. They'll stop texting you. So if you want that to stop, do it now. Do it as early as you can. And we're also down here, we're going to do a parade to the polls next weekend, where we're going to have like a car club, and we're going to have the big truck with the banner on the side, encouraging people to vote, and take their ballots in and that sort of thing. So we're doing everything we can in Arizona because, to Jojo's point, when your ballot is processed, so you'll know you can sign up in Arizona to get a text message and an email when your ballot is received, when it is your signature is verified, when your ballot is not counted, because in Arizona they stop that. They count our ballots after 7 p.m. on the day of the election, but they don't have to do the verification. They don't have to do all of that because your ballot's already in.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
And I like to add as well, for those who, like, I don't know, you can also, this is what I do. I take my ballot, because, I go to my precinct, and, you can, get your ballot and you can take it, I do my research, at home, with my ballot, with the local as well, because that's just as important, the local, your judges, sheriffs, all of that. So, I research everyone, and we have it where I can go to my precinct, in my city, because they have the machine, and I can, when I'm done, I can just, put it through the machine, and I can get my sticker, because I want my sticker.
It's all sticker.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about that sticker.
That sticker is just it. It's it. That's the sticker. You got your sticker.
Really
it's official.
Yeah. Stop being fun too. They used to be real fun here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry for y'all. It's still fun here. It's still
fun. We got to flip that ledge, and then it'll get fun again. So
good. Yes. Yeah. So you guys, again, it's look into the early voting, for your prospective states, because there are, deadlines and everything. So just trust me, skip the lines if you can, because everybody, even though, voting should be, and I'm glad more jobs and more states are starting to give people either the day off or half a days. And even here in Michigan, I was voting in some of like the primaries and like on a Saturday. I love that. I love that.
And you can vote. You can drop your ballot in Arizona anywhere. You're not relegated to a certain place. You can drop your ballot off at any of the boxes. So,
here in Michigan,
it was very simple
but just here in Michigan for that, we can't. You have to make sure you drop it off in the right boxes.
Yeah. I mean, it was until the cyber ninja Trump foolishness, we had no issues. It's a created issue.
It is.
Yeah.
It really
Just
is.
like Jojo said, it's because of it wasn't going in certain people's favor. Now it's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right. Another issue that I hear from people, that I associate myself with. Some people are concerned about the immigration. Like we were talking before we came on, like some of these political ads are just it's crazy and it's fear mongering. And I couldn't believe that I saw an ad. It was like it's because of the illegals, and they actually say the illegals. I'm like, that's even offensive. Like what? Like the illegals, out here, they killing people, they taking your jobs. No, they're taking jobs that we don't want to do. Okay. I mean, let's just be real about it.
You want your lettuce to be $10 a head? Okay, you can have that, but Americans don't want to do those jobs.
No, we don't.
We don't even have farms anymore in Arizona.
You said what now?
So we don't even have farming existing in Arizona anymore. And when I moved here 20 years ago, that the 5 C's And who managed the 5 C's here? All of the folks that we brought from across the border. And once that reciprocality kind of changed in Arizona, you saw our economy really suffer. And that just goes to show how important our relationship with the border truly is. And I can tell you, I've lived in this state for a long time. Before here, I'm a Californian, also another border state.
Okay, now I grew up in San Diego when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I'm from up north in Sacramento. But what I can say in being and working and living in these states is everything that you see on the news is a complete fallacy. We have folks leaving Arizona every day to go on vacation to Rocky Point, Cancun, Mexico at their will. And they welcome us with open arms. Arizona used to do the same thing, allowing workers to come over here and infuse our economy with services that other Americans won't do those jobs, frankly. And on top of all that, the difference is that folks who are trying to come to this country for a better life, they are not going to do anything to compromise their ability to get legal status. Yes, is there crime at the border? To some degree, are drugs being transported all over this nation? Yes, but is it because of the immigrants that are trying to come here and have a better life? Absolutely not. Those are from the cartel. Those are from departments of our government that might be sharing weapons around the world. But they're definitely not the everyday people who are trying to come over with their children to find work, to have housing, and to have a better life. And then the other fallacy is that these folks don't pay taxes, which they do. And they pay taxes without representation, and we constantly vilify them. These folks are not committing crimes. It doesn't exist. And it's just a fallacy. And I don't know how many times I have to tell that truth over and over again, especially when I hear people who live in states that don't even border a border, and they're afraid, or they have these fears, or they perpetuate these messages. And I'm like, I'm here every day, all day. That's not happening. And I can tell you, the people that accost me in Arizona are not brown people. I came back out of the Marine Corps to Arizona in 2007 during the plight of SB 1070. I am half Black, half Korean, but in Arizona, I present as a Latina woman. Like everyone assumes I speak Spanish. And so during SB 10, I'm driving around with my mixed children in a car going to school, getting pulled over. I can't tell you how many times about show me your papers law.
Oh my God.
That's back on the ballot this year. And these things are just atrocious to me because we live in a free country.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
And
we want to keep it free, y'all.
Yeah, it will stay free. And I know we're going to talk about this a little later, but let's dispel this border czar foolishness about Kamala. She was not named the border czar. Her task by President Biden, because she's the vice president, was to go to the triangle where we, the United States government, created problems in these other countries that these people, these humans, are fleeing from. It's stuff that we did in these countries that we need to go help fix so that these people won't have to cross several countries. These are people walking across countries. I would rather them be my neighbor than some of these folks that are my neighbors because they're human beings. And I frequently tell people, we were just blessed to be born on this side of an imaginary line. There's an imaginary line, a man-made imaginary line that we said is our border. And we just happen to be blessed to be born on this side of it. And then Kalani knows, don't make me go to the Christians and what the Bible says about welcoming the stranger.
Right.
Okay, I'm done. Y'all go back to being serious. I'm not a serious person.
But that's why they use words like illegals or undocumented versus immigrants, right? Because they want to tie immigrants to their white ancestors.
Yes.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that's just not fair.
It's
It's just
not
not okay.
fair. It's so not fair. I mean, everybody, if you're not Native American, that's over
Right.
here, immigrants, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we were kidnapped, but
Yeah,
you
we
know,
were kidnapped, but I'm waiting for the natives to put us all out. I'm like, put us out. Just be like, you know what? Out,
go.
y'all. All of y'all, out.
And the one thing that I was surprised to learn about Kamala Harris is the toughness that when she was in California with the immigration and the border. I was like, oh, she did that. I didn't know.
Yeah. As AG, she fought this
Yeah,
constantly. She has the experience. She has the
she
skill and
does.
expertise to handle this as the commander in chief, as the president of the United States. She just does.
She
And I ain't
does.
telling nobody how to vote, but just think about your choices.
Right. She's done
Experience
there.
matters. Experience matters. And
Experience does matter.
if we're putting
I'm not going to go to a
degrees,
surgeon that is a plumber. I'm not.
Oh,
yeah.
Because I like him. No, I want you to have gone to school. I want you to have written some papers. I want you to have practiced and had residencies and sat under the wisest people before you open me up. It's a job interview, and that's what I have to tell
It is.
younger voters, because we do a lot of work with younger voters, is you're not interviewing the person that's going to sit in the White House to date them. This is a job interview.
Yes.
You're not going to agree with everything another person does, but it's a job interview. Are they qualified to hold the job? That's the measure. Not, are we in love with each other? Do you make my heart beat fast? If they do, you might be in a cult. That's all I got to say about
Look, some are okay. Yeah, speaking of qualification, and again, we're just stating, just the facts here, because the title of this is nothing but the facts. Okay. Something that gets diluted, in the media concerning certain people that's running, mainly Kamala Harris. It's no secret, and that's my candidate, and it's not because she's a woman, or it's not because she's a person of color. It's because, to me, it's the logical choice. Okay. And it really bugs me when I hear people repeating these lies about her, concerning how she got to where she is. The whole, she's slept her way to the top. Like, what?
And they never
I cringe on the inside when I hear people say that.
They never say that about men, though. Why is it always women that slept their way to the top?
They rape their way to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they sexually harass their way to the top.
Yeah.
But it's a woman. Oh, she must have. And it's other women too, like spewing this. It's like, what?
It's terrible. I try to remind folks, right, coming out of the Trump years, and when we elected Biden, Harris, and when we had the representation and the votes, and her being the tiebreaker, and just us being able to really pass really monumental, impactful legislation those first 2 years. And then we saw what happened during the midterms. They said, oh, hell no. We're not going to let them keep moving forward, because we keep trying to move them backwards.
Right.
And so they disrupted the system. And by disrupting the system, when you have the House majority, there's not a whole lot we can do at that point in time. And so that's why this year is so important for everybody to show up and not be apathetic and not make assumptions that the right things will happen, because it is truly up to us. We had the rescue bill, we've had the infrastructure bill. I'm watching my freeways in Arizona become amazing. And I'm so excited about the broadband expansions that are happening. My friends that work up in the Native American lands up in Navajo country are getting real access for once, finally, in 2024. And so it just disgusts me, because you can look at the last 2 years on how much legislation has not been passed, how much has been thwarted, and how much has been compromised by this MAGA-inspired GOP. And if people just pay attention to those major factors right there, they would know who is serving them or trying to serve them. And I'll be the first to say, politics is messy on both sides. There is a side that is being ethical. There is a side that has integrity. There is a side that is working for the people, the voters, that it is affecting their everyday lives. And it's obvious that Donald Trump is not even thinking about us in that space.
Obvious. And I don't get, I really don't get, I mean, it's like, it's written on, it's so blatant that he's in it for himself. He's a felon, even though, let me say this, just because somebody's a felon doesn't mean they're not, a good person.
But 36 of them.
Right. But I'm saying, but like for him, he's been accused of a crime, and he incited the January 6th.
And for that, the two of us, I know on this call, will never forgive. Will never.
I was mortified. I was not going to watch it that day, and I'm trying not to mess up your algorithm by cussing. But anyway, I wasn't going to watch it. And one of my best friends, we've been friends for over 50 years. She's like, she called me that morning. You going to watch it? I was like, for what? It's ceremonial. I mean, I understand the way government works. And I was like, it's just ceremonial. She called me back in an hour. She said, B, turn your TV on. Somebody just got shot at the Capitol. And I was like, and I turned it on and I was mortified. I was like, what is happening? What is happening right now? And it went on and on for hours. And I was like, do something. Where's the National Guard? Get somebody in there. Stop this. And as a former law enforcement officer and as a former Army officer, I was mortified, and I still sometimes shake just thinking about what was happening and what could have happened had they been more competent.
Yeah. And this is somebody that loves the country, right? This is somebody who wants the best for the country, right? That was disgusting. And I don't understand this. And I know we say this a lot, like this election is important. I mean, they're all important, but it's not even about, because I'm a registered independent. So it's not even about Republican. It's not even about Democrats. It's about what's right, because we see a lot of Republicans who are supporting Harris because they know that this don't represent their party.
Yeah.
The Trumps and the Vances, because they're more on the extremist side, and that's very telling when you see all these Republicans flipping. I mean, staunch Republicans, conservative, because they know that this is not what my party represents. Can you guys you guys see that, especially when you got the DNC, that one guy, I forget his name, the Republican who was there, he spoke. I was like, wow.
Adam Kinzinger. Yeah,
Yeah.
he spoke. He was actually sitting or doing interviews right in front of where our delegation was sitting. But we got to talk to a lot of people. We did a lot of interviews because if they found out you were a delegate, they were sticking a camera and a microphone in front of your face. But it was so funny. I have to tell this quick funny story. So I'm walking and I see Brett Baer. He's standing by the floor where the delegates are walking, and you could see his face. He's like locked eyes with me, and we got on. I have on my credentials showing I'm a delegate, and he wanted to say something to me. I was like, Brett Baer, and I just kept walking. And they made a big deal about the right-wing news media that none of the delegates would talk to them. For what? Why are you here? Why are you here? Because we're not going to be a soundbite where you can misconstrue something we say and post it to your audience, twisting what we said. We're not going to talk to you. We are not. So why are you here? But it's just a lot. I do, and I would love to go back to where we were having policy disputes with the other side. We need at least a two-party system. I would like to see more than a two-party system. But I would love to go back. But right now, we are saving our republic right now. That's what it's all about. Nothing else matters. If we fall into authoritarianism or fascism, I told my kids, because I was on a delegate call and we got some disturbing news. But this was before President Biden stepped aside. I called both my kids and their spouses and I said, get your passports. Get passports for my grandchildren. If we have to leave, we're going to leave. We have between November 6th and January 19th to leave the United States of America. I will have a boat off the Gulf Coast. I will give you a date certain. Be there. Don't. And they were like, Mom? And I'm like, and they know I'm not hyperbolic like that. I was like, we won't survive this. We have to go.
Yeah.
When you have a president, former president, who is threatening even, comedians or folks who have, talked about him or illustrated his incompetence, that he wants to come after them, right? Well, where does that stop? Where does it start and stop?
Exactly.
Are we going to go back to the McCarthyism era? Are we going to start blacklisting folks?
Right.
How long before it gets to you, where you thought maybe you were touched or privileged to some degree, and now you're not? And I can tell you, I was a registered Republican for most of my life, so that I could be aware of what is happening, but also because I was ill-informed growing up, about how to fit into this society. But once I took the time to really learn about policy, politics, legislation, how things come to be, who's responsible for that, and then really understanding our country's budgets, all the different line items, and how much waste we spend on the military industrial complex and the war machine, but don't invest in our veterans that are returning back from those tragedies. And so it's really important that we stay engaged and have these conversations with our politicians and don't let them fall out of working for the people. And that's what we're seeing, is people who are trying to push agendas for their friends, for their businesses, for the wealthy, and continue to really put their thumb down on us. And it's not a good feeling. And when I made the decision to denounce being a Republican in Arizona 4 years ago, I remember it was a really big deal. And I was disappointed that I saw a lot of people who stopped talking about being a Republican, but didn't publicly say, I'm really mad at my party, or I'm really mad at what's happening in my state, or these representatives are lacking character and integrity. That takes a lot of courage to be a part of a party or a group and to say, hey, you guys are doing stuff wrong.
Yeah.
And you need to get it together. And they weren't willing to do that at that time. They kept pushing themselves further and further to that crazy MAGA fray. And so I denounced that. And I was feeling jaded for a while. And there are a lot of people I don't talk to in the veteran world of Arizona anymore because of politics, right? But when Harris was announced that she was taking over the reins of Biden, Arizona, Phoenix, on that following Friday had its very first Harris rally. And I saw people at that rally I thought I would never see.
Oh, wow.
Publicly ever being in it in any Democratic spaces. And I'm talking about white, male, combat served veterans were there with their wives and their daughters. And that's when I knew something's different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's
And we have
tired.
the Mesa mayor. Yeah, the Mesa
Tired of
mayor
the
who spoke at that rally, John Giles.
Yes.
I told him, I said, listen, we may not see things the right way, but because you are indeed a patriot in the form of a patriot, I said, I will knock doors for you. And he was like, wow. I was like, I will knock doors for you. I said, because this is what this is about. This is not the other stuff. And so, but then the last thing I want to say is, I tell people, you know, back to our original premise about, you know, what could happen in this country. The former president of the United States has said he will give law enforcement federal qualified immunity. And
that right there is scary.
I have to tell people, do you know what that means? That means,
well, I don't think they do, Signa.
They could kill us and there's no repercussions. They could do anything they want and there's never going to be consequences for them doing so. And I've had uneducated people come to me and like, well, the states will have, I said, there's something called the supremacy clause. Do not argue with somebody with a Juris Doctorate. Okay. Do I need to recite the supremacy clause to you in the United States Constitution that says that the federal law, if there's disputes between states, the federal law reigns supreme? I said, that's the whole thing in the supremacy clause. And it's just an anathema to me that people don't take this seriously and think it can't happen
to them.
We're seeing vestiges of it in Arizona. I've said some of the stuff from Project 2025 has been already trying to be enacted in Arizona. I sit on a Veterans Council for the Attorney General, and one of our Republican state reps a year ago tried to bring forth legislation that said public school children it's required that they take the ASVAB. The ASVAB is the entry test
to the military.
To the military. And that's part of Project 2025.
Oh, come on. Okay, that segue into breaking down some of the points of the Project 25 while you there.
But they had a problem with it when it was No Child Left Behind.
Yeah.
The Obama administration.
Yeah.
And they allowed recruiters to come back into the schools.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put some you have to let me, I guess, put some links in there to that's like breaks down Project 2025 because it is a behemoth. I mean, it is 900 and some odd pages. No, not many people are going to read that.
No,
but it is.
And a lot of people think that it's not real.
They think it's not real.
It's very real.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why the Dobbs decision occurred. These things have been in place since the 80s. We just didn't know.
It is waiting for a right leader to enact it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of information out there, but see, this is what people don't understand, the history. It's called the Mandate for Leadership. That's the official name of it. It's the Conservative Project. This is just the 2025 version. This started in the 70s. Ronald Reagan, when he was the president, implemented 60% of the Mandate for Leadership then. And so I was talking to a lady and she was like, well, would it really be? I said, so what 60% of Project 2025 are you okay with implementing?
And we already know that trickle-down economics didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh no, it did
Trickle
not
down
work.
didn't
No,
work.
it didn't.
Trickle down.
Because look at all the recessions we've had, you know, in
Yeah.
hindsight.
It's ridiculous. That people won't, and then Project what is called Agenda 47 is just the video version of Project 2025. You know, and so if you don't want to read it, and I'd say most people won't, you know, but there's places you can go, and I put it in our chat because apparently it's not letting me put it in the comments.
Yeah, and you can put it in the you put it in the private. I can
I put it in the private, see if you can move it over. But you know, this is heavy duty, and it hits all areas of our lives. And I know me and Jojo, one of the things it does, it specifically comes against veterans benefits. You know, so we served our country, and you're going to try to put roadblocks in front of people that signed a blank check to serve the country? I think not. I think not. You won't be doing that. But it is, the bottom line is, it gives tremendous power. If nobody remembers anything else, it gives tremendous power to the executive, meaning the president, and it also expands the powers of the courts.
It ruins our checks and balances.
Yeah, the checks and balances are almost gone, eliminated. If this goes forward, we cannot allow this to happen. And it's so much in it that you should just shake when you hear about the impact. You know, removing the Department of Education.
Yeah, I was about to say,
a dumb populace is best. Yeah. So it's just a lot. It's just a lot. But I'll drop some stuff, and if you can move it over in the chat.
Yeah, it's in the chat now.
So people can just go and look for themselves. Don't take my word. Just go and look at it and watch the videos. The videos make you shake once you really get into them, because I've watched them and I'm just like, what in the honest, you know what is this?
Yeah, it's do you, like you said, with the education, hold on, I'm just putting it in the comment here, the one that you just sent me again. Yeah. So and you know, a lot of people are like, oh, like you said, oh, it's not real, or they're not going to really do that, or it's made up. No, it's not. And see, and that's how stuff gets by people, because they don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
No.
It's definitely time to take everything seriously.
Yeah, you have to take this serious, because like you said, Signa, even what really got me is like a lot of parts of it. The whole thing got me. But what really is that immunity for the police. Like, oh my God, I don't even want to imagine. You know, I have a little, you know, Blasian nephew. You know, he's mixed with, you know, Japanese and black, you know, but his skin, you know, he's brown, you know, and it's not just stopping with the boys. I mean, the girls, the women, you know, you see that, you know, it's not a hashtag for us as well, you know, and it's
a black professor at ASU get body slammed to the ground on campus by a police officer for jaywalking on a street that was closed for construction. So if they're already doing stuff like that without immunity, imagine what happens when
they have full immunity.
Yeah, and that's why
we already have people who are elected to office who are on the Brady list, dog. Like, you already been deemed unqualified, unethical, and problematic. So why do you get to even run for office now?
Yeah, when the FOP endorsed him, the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, endorsed a convicted felon. That tells you all you need to know.
Who sent people to attack Capitol Police? I mean, it's just, you can't there's not a contrast. The choice is so obvious.
You would think.
You would need people to understand, like, we are in a country of turmoil, and if we don't fix this now, like, then we've got to be people, like Signa says, that holding on to passports to figure out where we're going to live. No, we're going to work hard to make sure everybody has a thriving life in the United States, and that we all have the equity that we deserve, that we all have a roof over our head, that we all have access to food, and a way to provide for our families that doesn't involve, well, you got to be in this box, you go over here, you got to have less than this person. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me, this division.
And you know what? Coming from, because I am a Christian, like, because that's how it's, oh my God. When I tell you that the divide, even in the Christian sector, it's horrible, because I know people personally. I mean, it's just like they're not moving, they're not budging, they're not. They're like, I'm not going to be subject to these fear tactics. I'm like, what? What fear tactics? I'm like, that's from fear tactics from the other side. What are we talking about? But so like with the whole, and we've done this. I've said this on this platform before. The whole, it's only two issues that the Christians or evangelicals, we should say, because it's a difference. It's a difference. So with the evangelicals, they're just hell bent on those two issues, which are, abortion and homosexuality. What business is it of yours?
This is what I tell them. This is what I tell them, Lonnie. I said, so Christian, tell me how many times Jesus, the red stuff, the hot sauce, mentioned abortion, because they were having abortions then. How many times did he mention abortion in the New Testament? The answer is none. So if he didn't harp on abortion, why are you? Why are you?
Why are you?
Why are you? Because you've been told to, because you've been conditioned to, because people have lied to you. Before the 70s, this was not even an issue in the Christian church.
Mm-hmm.
This was manufactured, just like the border issue and everything, to give them some reason to pull you in by your nose and make you think something is happening that's not. Mm-hmm. Women are not carrying babies for 8 or 9 months. Those of us that have carried babies, your body by the 8th or 9th month is a mess. And then deciding, you know what? I'm done with this. I need to go shopping. Take this baby. No one is doing that. Right. No one is doing that. And of course, doctors are not waiting until after the child is born, because that's not abortion anymore. That's now infanticide. If you kill the baby.
Isn't that what 45 said during the
Yeah, he was talking about murder.
That's called murder. That's called murder, but no one is doing that. I had a miscarriage between my children. I was married. I was past the time in Arizona that I would have been able to get the health care I needed. The baby was gone. Because of my faith, I had the doctor had to convince me my baby was gone before I would let him go take it. He said, "You're going to die, Signa, if I don't get this baby. I have to get the baby out of you."
Yeah.
But today, I wouldn't have been able to have that procedure done in Arizona because I was past the 15 weeks.
Yeah. And Vance, people who seeking people, y'all please read this thing or look at the video, because with the IVF, they don't want to. I'm like, why are you trying to have control over our bodies? What's going on with that? What
want the IVF is fetal personage. That a egg is a person now, and they have all the rights and privileges of a whole person. Make it make sense. If people understood how fragile pregnancy is very fragile. Our bodies, many women's bodies eliminate the baby because it's not viable before we know we're pregnant.
Mm.
So, and my doctor had to explain that to me. He's like, the fact that we have pregnancies that come to term is an amazing feat because pregnancies are fragile. Anything can affect your body and eliminate the baby. So you're telling me if my body decides that it's not viable, I've got to wait until I'm almost dead before you'll give me the care I need, because my life doesn't mean a thing.
Right.
My life doesn't mean a thing. You know, I'm not a person anymore. This tissue that is trying to eliminate itself, but needs help, medical help to get it out of my body. That's wrong.
Right. I don't get it. Is there anything else that you guys want to speak to the audience regarding the issues this election? Feel free to just let us know.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about a lot of issues, but I really want to harp on the importance of voting and being a part of the voting process, especially where you live. And I'm not just talking about the president and the vice president.
Right.
We're talking about what's happening in your state.
Yes,
so if there are folks that you have the opportunity to change, to not elect, that will go to the federal level and misrepresent you. You know, you need to know what's happening down at the school board in your neighborhood, even if you don't have kids there, because there are people who don't have kids that are going there and trying to ban books. There are people in your city governments that are trying to pass ordinances on who can and can't live there. They are passing laws that are saying it is illegal and a jailable offense to be homeless. These are things that are happening in your states. You've got to know all of your representatives down ballot and really be in tune, because that affects your taxes, your viability, your ability to thrive. And then once you really got a gauge on what's happening in your state, being involved at the federal level makes it that much easier because you're represented. You know, you have that representation up there for you. And as soon as you don't, you can get rid of them. We did that in Arizona. We propped up Cinema years ago. And when she turned her back on us, we turned our back on her and we threw her out with the trash. And that's what we, as the citizens in our states, have the power to do. But we got to know what's going on, and we can't rely on rhetoric. We've got to know exactly what's going on, and we have to vote and we have to participate. And no matter what side of the aisle you are on, if somebody's trying to stop people from voting, you need to ask yourself why. Why?
Yeah. And I would say this about Jojo and the work that she does with Common Defense. It's amazing work. It is very impactful. And she and Common Defense, but she is an amazing leader because she has helped so many veterans realize they have a voice and people listen to us, you know, and, you know, it's just amazing. You know, I've watched her for a few years now, and she's my baby sister. So even though she could probably whip my butt, but anyway, but yeah, just voting is the least you can do, you know, especially for people that look like us. You know, people fought, bled, and died for us to have the right to cast a vote. That's the least you can do. And to Jojo's point, and after we vote you in, then we're going to hold you accountable. Trust me, I sit on the governing board for the biggest high school district in the state, and I can't go to the grocery store. People want to tell me about their kids at the grocery store. I'm just here for eggs, sweetie. I'm just here for eggs. That's all. I'm in church. Y'all really need me to speak to Jesus because I need to refill, because, you know, if I stop being filled, then I start cussing more than normal. So y'all want me to spend time with Jesus. Nope. People wait for me after church. I need you to know about this, and I need you to get involved in this situation. And I'm like, They hold me responsible. When I tell you my community keeps their foot in my behind, they keep their foot in my behind. And to Jojo's other comment about cinema, I knocked on doors for cinema. I know Jojo did as well in 120 degrees. When she started acting a fool, I went and talked to Ruben Gallego and I said, you gonna primary her. And he said, can I just get through the next election cycle? I said, get through the next election cycle and then you're gonna primary her. And here we are.
All right. I truly thank you ladies for coming on my platform. I know you are very busy women, and I appreciate the time that you did give to educate my audience. Thank you so much, Signa. You know, I love you, girl. You're my big sis. And Jojo, it was nice to meet you. And I know that you are going to continue to dominate in your area. And I can tell that you know your stuff and you are not to be played with. And, and everyone, I just want to, hey. And I got on my Kamala Harris walls.
Yeah, I got to go to a meeting or I'd have been outfitted too. I do love our Vets Against Trump shirt because we went to a Carrie Lake event and did some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go hang out with Governor Walz right now.
Yeah.
All right. All right, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Get out and vote. And I don't know when the next time I see you over here, but bye.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, you ladies.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was very good. And again, y'all get out to vote. Get out to vote. Vote early. And your local area. Do your research for your senators, for your judges in your districts, and again, school boards, all that good stuff. Just vote. Go and vote. If you can, vote early. If you're still iffy about it, stay in line and wait and make sure that your vote is counted. Okay. I love you. Bye.